The girl enjoys swimming in the secluded and deserted sea. One day, just after coming out of the sea, she witnessed a scene that sent her adrenaline soaring.
니도 우리 학교네. 야, 내만 안 된 줄 알았는데.
내도 내만 아는 데인 줄 알았지.
Hoping to run into the boy again, the girl returned to this beach the following weekend, even making a point to fold her clothes neatly. She then fantasized about the boy suddenly appearing, picking up her student ID card, and reading her name out loud.
박세리. 이름 예쁘네. 잘 어울린다.
Filled with anticipation, she plunged headfirst into the sea. Several hours later, a figure finally appeared on the beach, but it was not the person the girl was waiting for. The boy merely picked up the student ID card, glanced at the girl's clothes, and then dashed away. He instinctively reached out to grab something, only to end up falling into the sea with a splash. Unable to swim, he could only scream for help. Seeing this, the girl quickly rushed to his rescue. By the time the boy was pulled to the shore, he was already unconscious, and there was not a soul in sight in this absurdly remote location. In her desperation, the girl had no choice but to save him through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. This is the newly released 2025 Korean film Curly First Love, a story filled with gentle youthfulness. The oldest among the cast is Gong Myung, born in 1994, while the remaining 6 are all post-2000s. The innocence and naivety of the actors' ages not only did not hinder their performances but instead made the overall youthful atmosphere of the film even more vibrant. Additionally, the surprise cameo by the old couple, cafe owner and cafe owner's wife, added a lot of nostalgic sentiment to the movie. Some netizens say this film is quite cheesy, with a cliched and even somewhat melodramatic plot, but it managed to heal my 36-year-long appearance anxiety. The female lead, Park Se-ri, is a typical self-disparaging teenager. Due to her father's genetic inheritance, she has a head of unruly curly hair. In the 1990s, when straight, smooth hair was all the rage, Park Se-ri's hair became her biggest source of distress. She tried countless methods to change it, but the solutions were only temporary, reverting back to its original state within days. After developing her first crush, Park Se-ri fell for the boy next door, but he ended up holding her sister's hand instead, simply because her sister had smooth, straight hair. From that day on, she hated her own curls and vowed never to confess her feelings again, until she met the school heartthrob, Kim Hyeon, by the seaside, and her dormant heart began to stir once more. Because of this encounter, Kim Hyeon would always greet her whenever they met. You know, Kim Hyeon is the object of secret admiration for half the girls in the school, and this scene instantly attracted envious inquiries from her close friends.
김혜인 니한테 인사를 와 하는데.
아니 네, 어제 바다에서 뭐?
From then on, Park Se-ri became Kim Hyeon's loyal little fangirl, and as soon as the break time came, she would run to secretly watch Kim Hyeon play ball. Of course, such fervent eyes were not just one pair. In order to catch Kim Hyeon's attention, she went to the supermarket and bought a bottle of Kim Hyeon's favorite drink, then wrote her name on the bottle.
이거 농구장에 막 키 크고
김희아의. 예, 어찌하셨어요?
The elder sister smiled helplessly. The refrigerator was already stuffed with Kim Hyeon's drinks, and back in the day I also had endless affectionate drinks. Of course, all thanks to my good buddy's handsome face. After walking out of the supermarket, Park Se-ri encountered her arch-rival Young Do-wol. Their hair was cullier than each other's, and neither could stand the other. From the drink Young Do-wol was having, it can be seen that the two were still in a love-rival relationship. But a few days later, Young Do-wol's curly hair turned into flowing straight hair. It turned out that a new hair salon had opened. The boss lady brought advanced technology from Seoul, but the cost was outrageously expensive. Perming once required 200,000 won. At that time, There was a financial crisis, and 200,000 won was absolutely considered a huge sum for ordinary families. But in order to transform from an ugly duckling into a swan, Park Se-ri tried every means to gather money, but it was still far from enough. Just as she was about to give up, a turn of events occurred. With 184 days left until the college entrance exam, surprisingly a transfer student came, and it was said he was a repeat student.
자기소개해봐라.
한윤석입니다.
꼬치가.
Looking closely, isn't this the boy she saved at the seaside? She took the initiative to step forward and greet Han Yun-seok. After all, she was his lifesaver. The result was her enthusiasm was met with coldness. Han Yun-seok just simply grunted. This day Park Se-ri went to linger at the hair salon entrance again. Suddenly hearing a familiar voice, she secretly hid at the corner to watch, then was overjoyed in her heart. It turned out the boss lady was Han Yun-seok's mother. The recently shattered straight hair dream reignited with hope. After school, she ambushed in advance around the hair salon, and when Han Yun-seok slowly returned, she ran out pretending to coincidentally meet.
윤현이 와서 뭐 하는데? 머리 잘라고?
여기 우리 엄마가 하는데요.
아이고 마 그럼 또 내가 또 인사를 드려야지.
Before Han Yun-seok could react, Park Se-ri rushed into the hair salon. Upon entering, she first bowed to the aunt, then talked incessantly introducing herself, and exaggeratedly recounted the seaside incident.
생명의 은인. 제가 사실 그날 윤석이 오빠를 막 목숨 걸고 구했거든요.
How could mother fail to see through such a little scheme? She could forego the money, but she wasn't about to let Park Se-ri off without some return.
우리 윤석이가 요즘에 깁스 때문에 많이 힘들잖아. 친구도 없어서.
윤석이 오빠는 뭐 제가 책임지겠습니다. 저희 친합니다. 맞지?
The two reached a friendly agreement. Park Se-ri would help look after Han Yun-seok, and once his cast was removed, mother would give her a free hairdo. After that, Park Se-ri was fired up like never before. She used to be late for school every single day, but now she sprang out of bed the moment the alarm rang, all because she was in charge of picking Han Yun-seok up for school. When crossing the street, she was hyper-alert in every direction. If anyone dared to honk near Han Yun-seok, she absolutely had to exchange a few words with them. At school, she didn't care about the odd looks from others, bustling around like a little attendant doing everything for Han Yun-seok. Anyone who's been to high school probably knows that once the dismissal bell rings, the food-rushing army surges toward the cafeteria like a floodgate opening, a scene comparable to a battlefield charge. If you ask about the most enthusiastic activity at school, it's definitely rushing for food. With his leg in a cast, Han Yun-seok naturally ended up last in line. Luckily, Park Se-ri and her friends stepped in to help, or he wouldn't have even gotten a sip of hot soup. After school in the evening, Park Se-ri would personally see him home, afraid of missing any chance to show her dedication. Little by little, Han Yun-seok became a member of the small group. After losing her school ID while swimming at the beach, her best friend made her a paper replacement. Actually, the school ID had been with Han Yun-seok the whole time. He meant to return it to Park Se-ri, but after hearing her friend's teasing remarks, he immediately held back.
좋아하는 사람 명찰 내가 갖고 있으면 그 사람도 내를 좋아하게 된다, 나나. 너가 박세리 니 좋아하는갑다.
맞네. 너가 일부러 훔치갔네. 아, 내 곤란한데 내 현이 좋아하는데. 아니, 갑자기 너가 맥찰 들고 와서 내 좋아한다 하면 어쩌...
Park Se-ri's temper wasn't exactly bad, but it wasn't great either. Yet the moment she saw Kim Hyeon's handsome face, she instantly turned into a picture of refined grace. Her headache vanished, her heart felt all warm, and she even romantically assumed Kim Hyeon had kicked the ball that way on purpose, just to start a conversation with her. In her spare time, Park Se-ri also helped Han Yun-seok's mother hand out flyers. Spotting an uncle ahead with a head of curly hair, she confidently stepped up to make her pitch. To each their own, not everyone prefers straight hair. Park Se-ri accidentally caught sight of Kim Hyeon. Flustered, she quickly hid behind Han Yun-seok, failing to notice the look of disdain on his face. Perhaps even Han Yun-seok himself hadn't noticed that he'd fallen into a vat of vinegar, soaked through with sourness. Summer weather changes in a blink. One moment the sky was clear and cloudless, and the next, a heavy downpour was pouring. Park Se-ri brought Han Yun-seok to her family's storage room, which was also her secret base. But she didn't treat Han Yun-seok as an outsider at all. She even told him the passcode to the room.
486?
야, 조용! 야, 맘마 누가 듣는다.
누가 들어? 여기 누구 있어?
아니, 그게 아니고 486이 비밀이라고.
486이?
아니, 486이가 아니고. 아, 진짜.
To confess to Kim Hyeon, Park Se-ri made a detailed plan. She decided to fold 1,000 paper cranes, and her girlfriends all came together to help. Even though Han Yun-seok had 10,000 reasons not to want to, she ended up folding the most. The next step was choosing a place to confess. Park Se-ri selected the school's study room.
야자실은 전교 100등까지만 출입 가능한 곳으로 거서 고백을 하면 100% 커플이 된다는 전설이 있는 곳이다.
She wanted to borrow the study room reservation for a day from the top student in her class. But not only did the top student refuse, he also poured cold water on her idea.
거기서 고백하면 뭐 되나? 귀면에 눈이 삐었나? 정신 차리라. 사람이 수준이란 게 있는 기다.
Even before the confession could begin, her self-esteem was shattered. She would rather believe in the legend that confessing in the study room leads to success than believe that her true self could be liked by someone. And she overlooked the concern that was right in front of her. The screen full of paper cranes carried her affection for Kim Hyeon. But were they not also Han Yun-seok's silent watch over her? In the tangled lines of love, the one who cares deeply often seems to receive little echo.
야, 이거는
Before long, the first mock exam arrived. When Han Yun-seok transferred, she had told the teacher she didn't plan to take the college entrance exam. Yet for some reason she still took this mock test. When the scores were released, everyone was stunned. Han Yun-seok had actually ranked first in the entire school. But things don't always go as one wishes. Han Yun-seok helped secure the study room spot for her. Yet Kim Hyeon was assigned outside the top 100 list, for a romance that hadn't even truly begun. Everyone had busied themselves, sharing both the excitement and the disappointment. But such disappointment never lasted long. With just a passing greeting from Kim Hyeon, Park Se-ri would forget all about herself again. We've seen self-absorbed people, but never one quite this self-absorbed. By chance, the two classes organized a friendly match. The game was dodgeball, where the male students had to protect the female students behind them from being hit by the opponents. Some took the chance to act inappropriately, while others swallowed a bellyful of jealousy.
샤는 머저래까지 붙어있는 딱지도.
After a fierce match, only 4 teams remained in the blink of an eye. What seemed like a contest between two classes was in truth a personal battle between Kim Hyeon and Han Yun-seok. The other players were completely outmatched. Finally, only 2 pairs were left, each with their own partner. Kim Hyeon seized an opportunity, grabbed a ball from the sideline, and aimed a hard throw right at Park Se-ri. Han Yun-seok mustered all his strength to catch the ball, and in that instant he also spotted his opponent's weakness. Victory or defeat hung on this moment. Park Se-ri broke Han Yun-seok's heart and also plunged herself into shame and regret.
진짜 박살이니 왜 그런데?
That evening, both Kim Hyeon and Han Yun-seok sent her pager messages. Hearing Kim Hyeon's voice, she lost herself once more, but Kim Hyeon's message only thanked her for the victory in the match, without a word of concern about her injury. In contrast, Han Yun-seok's message was full of genuine care. He even apologized proactively, saying he had left too abruptly that afternoon, and told Park Se-ri not to overthink it. He wasn't angry at all. Han Yun-seok had given her his whole heart, yet in her dreams she called out another's name. As the college entrance exam approached, the school suddenly announced a field trip, and Park Se-ri decided to use this chance to confess, plotting the details with her girlfriends. Han Yun-seok's eyes were full of disappointment, but there was nothing he could do. Following their earlier agreement, Park Se-ri finally got her chance to change her hairstyle. Because her mother had to attend to other customers, she asked Han Yun-seok to wash Park Se-ri's hair instead, knowing full well that conditioner shouldn't be used before a perm. Han Yun-seok used it anyway.
이런 실수를 하는 애가 아닌데 왜 이랬대?
엄마, 저 나갔다 올게요.
Though it was a pointless move, Han Yun-seok couldn't help following his heart. On the day of the field trip, Park Se-ri boarded the bus with a head of smooth, straight hair, instantly drawing the attention of her classmates, and from their admiring gazes, she found a confidence she had never felt before. Rather than pursuing love, she was really seeking validation from others, believing that if she turned into the version others liked, she would surely be liked in return. Though confidence built on denying one's true self isn't real confidence, that is the raw truth of adolescence. With the drums of the college exam about to beat, the students usually buried under piles of books and tests now broke free like birds unleashed, running and chasing freely across the scenic area. Their clear, bright laughter painted the whole place with vibrant, youthful energy. This is also where the film shines brightest. You can guess where the plot is heading, yet each frame sends ripples through you. Those buried memories clearly ambush me, yet the corners of my mouth lift slightly, and I smile knowingly. Youth truly is wonderful. While the bonfire party was going on, Park Se-ri prepared to confess at a small grove. She even set up mood lights, then had a male friend bring Kim Hyeon over, clearly an old pro, smooth, calm, and completely at ease. Park Se-ri was so nervous she stumbled over her words, talking in circles without really saying anything coherent. Her friends watching from nearby couldn't hear their conversation either, but assuming it would be smooth sailing, Han Yun-seok left with mixed emotions. After the trip, the two of them didn't speak a word on the way back, but that evening, after returning, Han Yun-seok found himself drawn to the secret base without even thinking. Perhaps Park Se-ri guessed that he would definitely come, so she waited here early.
니 내한테 궁금한 거 없나?
뭐가?
김혜한테 고백한 거 안 궁금하나?
그거 어떻게 됐는데?
고백 안 했다.
It turned out that night, Park Se-ri woke up as if from a dream. Kim Hyeon was standing right in front of her, but when that confession of love blurted out, the figure that appeared in her mind was Han Yun-seok. In the end, Park Se-ri honestly confessed her thoughts to Kim Hyeon, and spoke the most classic line in this movie.
항상 내가 변해야 누군가가 내를 좋아할 수 있을 줄 알았거든. 막 뭘 더 잘해야 될 것 같고 더 예뻐져야 될 것 같고. 근데 내 가앞에서는 그런 생각이 하나도 안 든다.
The process of Park Se-ri pursuing Kim Hyeon was the first collision with her true self, and also a naive exploration of loving and being loved. True love is not a far-off Prince Charming, but the companionship and dedication close at hand. But she told Han Yun-seok that she gave up in order to prepare for the college entrance exam.
내 수능여 억수로 큰 거 하나만 사줄래?
그 엿이 크다고 시험이 잘 봐질까?
그래, 마 됐다. 그거 책 봐라. 아, 진짜.
They did not spell it out, but between them, there was an additional subtle tacit understanding. Every unintentional eye contact seemed to be telling that affection hidden in the heart. Although they had agreed to have a meal together with companions, Park Se-ri suddenly said she was not feeling well and had to go back first. As soon as she left, Han Yun-seok hastily escaped using the same excuse. The companions noticed something fishy, but they did not disturb. On the way walking Park Se-ri home, the two tacitly deliberately slowed down their steps, enjoying this unspoken sweetness. Although they had already reached her doorstep, they were still unwilling to part. The two walked from the city to the outskirts, and then came to the place where they first met. Han Yun-seok finally returned Park Se-ri's school badge, and gathered courage to speak the confession of love. Park Se-ri shyly lowered her head, as if the whole world had become incredibly beautiful at this moment. When parting that night, the two used a shy first kiss to engrave the most precious mark on this time. If the movie could end here, it would still be a pretty good youth film. but Korean directors seem to have a common problem when filming this type of subject. Even without car accidents, cancer, or amnesia, they must arrange an episode of forced emotional drama. As soon as the two established their relationship, Han Yun-seok received a call from his mother. It turned out that Han Yun-seok's mother was hospitalized, and she was admitted to a Seoul hospital hundreds of kilometers away from Busan. In the hospital room stood a doctor with a cold expression, who was also Han Yun-seok's father. From the mother's injuries and the conversation between father and son, it could be concluded that Han Yun-seok's mother was subjected to domestic violence by the father.
집으로 돌아와라.
It turned out that the mother and son moved to Busan to avoid the father who was perpetrating long-term domestic violence, but they did not expect that they could not avoid it, because in that era, mobile phones were not yet widespread. Park Se-ri could only leave messages through a pager, but several days passed without any news. She ran to the barbershop to check, and it had already posted a transfer message, so she could only personally hurry to Seoul. Standing outside the hospital room, she heard about the ordeal of the mother and son, and moreover, the mother had already planned to move to the United States.
엄마, 저 가기 싫어요. 저 그냥 부산으로 가고 싶어요.
In order to make way for Han Yun-seok and his mother, Park Se-ri deliberately spoke harsh words in the phone message, and ruthlessly proposed a breakup. But after returning home, she cried herself to tears. Perhaps this is the other side of youth. A muddled beginning, a process beautiful and sweet, but an ending like petals in the autumn wind, with nostalgia and regret, helplessly falling. Several years later, Park Se-ri finally accepted her curly hair. While walking by the sea, the director returned Han Yun-seok to her, and with that, the whole film ended. The originally naturally flowing youth story, because of this forcibly added farewell scene, became deliberate and abrupt, and also greatly reduced the audience's emotional immersion, but it does not affect the positive values conveyed by the movie itself. It accurately captures the delicate emotions unique to adolescence, and points out the misconception that many people fall into during growth of blindly catering to others. This lack of self-identity brings a sense of inferiority, which may accompany a person for a long time, because everyone has a head of curly hair that can never be straightened. So the movie tells us that true confidence comes from accepting one's own imperfections, and only by loving and being loved with one's true self can one harvest the most sincere affection. Thank you for your silent companionship. Looking forward to walking into the next story with you.